I'm gonna put you on the spot. We heard, in the Stein clip talking about how Ty Lues of the world aren't going to be available. There's not a lot of big names out there. Is there a name that potentially excites you to move on from Frank and try to bring somebody else in here to help this team succeed?
Yeah, because I'm not thinking about just this year. I'm thinking about like the future of this franchise. Who do you think can lead the ship for years to come? Who do you have confidence can come in here and really establish a winning culture consistently? You've gotten close. You flirted with that, under Monty, obviously. And it's not like Frank destroyed it. He had 49 wins this season, so I'm not going to say that he did. But I just don't feel like he's the future. So the name that I would continue to go to, and I wore the shirt last week, and I'll continue to pound the table, and I don't give a shit how many people say I'm stupid about it. I think it's Becky Hammon. I think she is by far one of the better coaches in the country, and she's got the championship pedigree to prove it, and she's got the support from not only Pop and other coaches, but also a lot of players around the league. She is very, very well respected, and she's proven it. So I think that's the one I would go after to see, what that's all about and see if she'd be interested, because I feel like she could be here for decades if she did this and got this opportunity.
I love Becky Hammons.
Mm-hmm.
I would absolutely love it. I sign up for it right now. Like Saul said, she commands the locker room. She commands respect. She's won at every level. I want somebody in here that wants it more than the players, and that would be a historical hire. There's no way you can tell me that a Becky Hammons-led basketball team isn't going to go out there and perform every damn night with the amount of pressure that would be on her shoulders as the first woman NBA coach in history. Those are the type of moves. And it's not just because of that. She can coach her ass off. Like, she knows the game of basketball. So I'd be all for that. And I've said this a couple times, or I'll say it again. I'm fascinated with JJ Redick. I really am. I think he understands the new era of basketball. He understands the psychology of these new players. And I think he's another guy that would come in and demand a certain quality, a certain level of respect. So those two guys, those two candidates are both intriguing in their own way. I know people are going to say first-time coach. Do you really want to do that with this type of roster? But Popovich at one time was a first-time coach too. Eric Spoelstra was a first-time coach too. At some point, they got to get an opportunity to show their greatness, and I wouldn't be opposed to either one of those.
I don't care if the person's a first-time head coach. The thing I wonder about with JJ Redick is hasn't spent any time on a bench, which is different than first-time head coach. That's first-time coach.
Yeah.
Except for coaching his kids. He talks about coaching his kids, but also, is he too much of a contemporary of a guy like a Kevin Durant, even to some extent a Bradley Beal, to where can he break through and be the guy to call somebody out, to own the locker room, to have control over a group that has such big egos? A younger team, I totally could get that, but can he come in and command the respect of the room the way that you're going to need this group? Because we feel like Frank didn't have the respect that, and that's my big question with JJ. It's all well and good if you know basketball philosophy like nobody else, that you have a basketball mind, and that you're really good at talking about it. But how are you in those situations? Can you call a Devin Booker or Kevin Durant out and hold them accountable, or are you going to have similar problems that they did with Frank just because this is a guy that they played against and I believe they've played, at least KD's played together with on all-star teams and stuff. Do you have that gravitas to pull that off?
That would be my biggest question. I do think as long as he brings the same energy that he calls out Stephen A. Smith with on First Take to the locker room, I think he has. I think he has that mentality, especially of being able to divide. Like, if I am a head coach, setting those barriers there, because that is important. Because if they look at you as their former teammate or former guy they used to play with, that's not that much older or not that much division, that is a problem. I wouldn't worry about that with JJ though. And I think, honestly, we talk a lot about, does this guy have the disposition for it? Does this guy have this quality for it? A lot of times, if you just win, all this other shit falls into place. If you have the system, if you have the sets, if you have the proper pedigree there to get these guys into shape right from the start and start winning games, the confidence follows from there. I think a lot of it with Frank was because they were so up and down all season in the win-loss column because they didn't have their guys. It's a lot easier to lose faith when the adversity hits. And I think that's what happened here. But I like Becky Hammon. I think she would hold people accountable. I like JJ Redick for his basketball mind. I would probably throw out, I know this isn't going to, make a lot of people excited, but Mike Budenholzer is a good coach. You need a team. You need someone that's going to rack up regular season wins for a team. You need someone that's going to put a system in place where they can feel confident night in and night out. We know what we're doing. And Budenholzer is one of the best in the league at cranking out regular season wins, at building that sort of thing in multiple locations where he's gone throughout his career. So as much as people point to his playoff shortcomings, and there are those, there is no perfect coach that has experience that's going to come in without their share of flaws. And I do think, like, the fact that he has been to the mountaintop with talent, I think that does matter a little bit.